Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Let's take a look at crude oil futures today. Today we had CPI numbers that were showing a pretty decent amount of inflation, and that kind of got the markets jumping around a little bit. But crude, this is our 240-minute chart in crude, and you can see that we were in an uptrend on crude. We were higher high, higher low, a little bit of consolidation, and then right in here in the U.S. session, we had a little pullback with the news. Again, we had a little back and forth movement for a little while with the news. Left the bottoming tail. The entire body of the bar was all buying, triggered the bullish inflection. So we had a bullish 240-minute chart. Higher highs, higher lows, 5 and 13 crossed to the upside, momentum to the upside, triggering a bullish inflection. This is all bullish on the 240-minute chart for crude. And here's the 30-minute chart. And early this morning, we actually were pushing down in crude. And then right in here is where the news release was. See all this craziness in crude during the news release? And you can see that we actually leaned slightly bearish, and we even had a couple short trades initially in crude. 5 and 13 actually crossed to the downside. Momentum was to the downside. And then we had this big bullish bar right here, closed back above the 50, and then this big indecision bar here, pushed up, left the big topping tail, pushed down, left the big bottoming tail. Then this bar opened here, topping tail, closed down here. Actually, next bar triggers the bear flag, finds support right at the 200, and you can see how many times we get under the 200 and just don't stay under it. Again, the 50 and the 200 significant support and resistance, no different today. Broke under it, back above it, broke under it, back above it. And then right in here, after this kind of crazy period off of the CPI news, we started to get bullish. The bottoming tail, entire body of the bar was buying, closed right at the 50 EMA, pushing our moving averages up, momentum working its way higher. And then the next bar right here is the bar that got us in Confluence with a 240-minute chart. We left the bottoming tail. The entire body of this bar was all buying. 5 and 13 crossed to the upside. Momentum crossed to the upside. We triggered above this big bullish reversal bar right here, triggered in, and then crude made a really nice rip higher after it got back into Confluence with the 240-minute chart. This is what it looked like on the Renko chart. And again, crude was kind of all over the place on this chart if you look at it. Right in here, this morning was where we were getting that push down. Actually had a short trade. Then we had the trend reversal breakout, changed the trend to the uptrend on the Renko chart. And then we had our news release right in here. And you can see we kind of pushed higher, pushed lower. And then we started kind of chopping around. And we kept getting these short setups right here. We had a wick out of the cloud to the downside, didn't follow through. Slow line zero touch didn't follow through. Fast and slow line touch, zero touch didn't follow through. And crude had plenty of opportunities to push lower, and it just didn't. And in the world of crude, we say that what won't go down may just turn around and go up. And that's ultimately what happened. We broke out of the cloud, chopped around a little bit, set up fast line zero touch out of the cloud, broke above resistance, and as we were breaking above this resistance right here, that's when we were getting back into Confluence with the 30-minute and the 240-minute chart. And then look at the rip to the upside. I mean, we just ripped right to the upside. Our target was 75.05. Our entry, the aggressive entry, was the fast line zero touch around 74.18. The more conservative entry was the power line breaks 74.29. So either way, depending on which trade you took, you definitely had the opportunity to grab $700-800 per contract on this push higher into target. And then crude continues to push higher. We actually have a bag number up here at 75.58. I don't know if we're going to get there or not. We're getting some bearish divergence now, so we may not get that high. We'll wait and see. But again, you can see we're making higher highs in price, but lower highs in momentum. So we're getting some bearish divergence right here in crude. We may not get into our target. If you still held on to contract past your original target, because we trade multiple contracts, and if you left a runner still, you're probably up over $1,000 per contract right now. You definitely should be up over $1,000 per contract on your runner. Just depends on how you're trading this. Again, we're getting some bearish divergence, so definitely a good place to tighten stops, maybe even consider profits. But we do still have our bag number. Our bag number is up here at 75.58. We could still go up there and get it. We're not significantly overvalued on the 240-minute chart. We are significantly overvalued on the 30-minute chart. But either way, nice Confluence rip in crude. As soon as the 30-minute chart got back into Confluence with the 240-minute chart, we just made this really nice rip higher right towards the end of the session.